Welcome, everyone. This is the new TBS Pioneer Profile Series episode. Before we start, I would like to acknowledge that here in Toronto, also known as Toronto, we are hosted on traditional territory of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples. We also recognize the enduring presence of all First Nations, Métis, and the Inuit peoples. Today, we are very grateful to have this opportunity to work on this land. And tonight, as you can see on the screen, we're joined by Jay Douglas for the seventh episode of our series, along with Rudy Blair, who will do the interview. We're so happy to host them, and thank you all for being with us right now. The interview will be around 50 minutes, and then we will have 10 minutes for your questions, as always. If you're watching us on Zoom, you can just drop your questions on the Q&A box or the chat function. If you're watching on the TBS Facebook page right now, which we're simultaneously broadcasting, we will monitor the comment sections right there. And if you have any questions, you can just put your questions on the comment section there as well. And before we start, I just would like to thank you, our year-round supporters, Toronto Arts Council, Ontario Arts Council, as well as Government of Canada, and remind that TBS is a not-for-profit charitable organization relying on membership and donations. We have been bringing free programming since the beginning of the pandemic, and it's really important to have the support of our followers during these challenging times. And all donations are tax deductible and can be done easily through our website, which is tronobluesociety.com. And on that note, I just would like to leave the virtual mic to Rudy to begin the interview.
Thank you so much. This is such an honor to be part of this. And Jay, you and I have known each other for many, many years. But usually when we get a chance to talk, it's on a red carpet because you're nominated for an award or you're going to be performing somewhere. In fact, you know that the last Juno Awards, we were together for several hours in Saskatoon. We were freezing our you know what stuff. And this is when we were truly introduced to the new world with COVID-19, where we literally got off the plane, had to get our tickets and get back on the plane too. Ever since then, though, my friend, how have you been dealing with this new world of COVID-19? So many things have changed in the entertainment world, in the music world, in the world in general. But for you, how has it changed?
Uh, well, I'm grateful. I'm grateful that I'm alive. I'm up and going today. So are you, all of us. So today is a gift, the present. And you know, when you get a gift or a present, you're excited. Well, today is a gift and it's the present. Tomorrow is a mystery. We don't know what it brings. So we'll hopefully live to see tomorrow and enjoy it. But today, I'm feeling great. I'm honored to be here to participate in the TBS uh, journey. And with COVID, yes, for me, it's it's been a lesson for me. It's a teacher, you know. Mother Nature is the greatest teacher. The students will be there for less. She'll be there when the students decide to show up. For me, I am grateful to be alive, and I am looking forward to the light at the end of that tunnel. There's a lot of good things that will come at the end. And yes, it's at a very costly price. You lose a lot of good friends and relatives and so many things, but there are other things that we're grateful for.
You recently lost a friend, correct?
Oh, more than yes, I lost so many, but I've lost a very good friend. His name was Ronald Williams. We call him Ronnie Williams, and some call him Ronnie Bob. He was part of the foundation, the musical foundation out of Jamaica, reggae music. He toured with Jimmy Cliff, a lot of artists, and then he left Jamaica, ended up in England, working in the recording circuit over there, and then came to Toronto. He had a record store at Kensington Market, and he's produced quite a few reggae artists. He just passed away about a week ago, unfortunately. You know,
Well, we send our condolences to his family, and of
yes.
course you too, my friend. We're going to talk about your career, 45, 50 years in music. But before we do that, though, I do have to ask you. We did talk a little bit about COVID-19, but for someone who has seen so many changes in the world, what were your thoughts in what you saw in the last 14, 15 months from the US election, from Black Lives Matter to racism being spoken about in a whole different manner, how people are now being aware? What do you think of all these things that have been going on in the last 14, 15 months?
Well, there's a natural mystic blowing in the air. And if you listen carefully now, you will hear that's Brother Bob Marley. We must emancipate ourselves of mental slavery. None but ourselves can free up our mind. A wise man embrace or face reality. Thought becomes reality. Those are important stuff. It's all a thought. Everything we do starts with a thought, but it's no good if we don't put it into reality. COVID, yes. Virus, yes. What about our immune system? How do we eat? How do we think? How do we speak? The power of the spoken word. Very powerful. How do we meditate? I become a product of my environment. If I'm not part of the solution, I'm a part of the problem. But everything, that thought, we have a lot in front of us. Are we going to choose a state of confusion? Or we choose to live in truth? That too is reality, Rudy.
Very, very true. Very, very true. The reality, though, over these past decades is you have been an ambassador for music, no matter what part of the world that you have been in. And I want to go back in the beginning, growing up in Jamaica for you. What was it like growing up in Montego Bay as a young child? What was the atmosphere like? What was the music like? What was the family like growing up back then?
A happy, organic way of life. Can you imagine you can go outside and pick an orange with the dew and you can eat it? You can, everything was so natural, organic way of life. The music, thank God for Marley and the Wailers, Toots and the Maytals, Higgs and Wilson, the Blues Busters, all of these cats. Thank God for them. But thank God for the great country of the United States of America. Thank God for the blues. That's why I shout out the Blues Society, because now they're doing foundation. We would not have had reggae music without the blues. B.B. King, James Brown, Bobby Blue Bland, Roscoe Gordon, Fat Stamina. That's why we have reggae today. You want proof? Ain't no dogging fooling around with you. Roscoe Gordon. Yeah. You can hear the bang, the ska. They slow the ska down to rock steady, slow the rock steady down to reggae. Fats Domino, be my guest tonight. Ska. And it all filtered off into Jamaica. The influence. Curtis Mayfield an impression. They were Bob Marley and the Wailers. See the connection?
I see the connection, but here's the thing though. Where and how did it connect to you though in becoming an artist? When did you start experimenting yourself? You're listening to all these different influences. When did you become the influence?
Well, as you know, living and growing in the north coast of Jamaica, that's where the tourism was very big. So the music filtering from Miami. And then we got to see Jackie Wilson, Chuck Jackson, all these American artists. So we learned how to fine tune the art, the craft. And then when I came here to my mom, who was a domestic worker in the 50s, came to Toronto, lead singer for the Cougars, we came with the scandal reggae and all of that stuff. But then we came here and we saw guys like Eric Mercury, Sean and Jay Jackson, Johnny Lee and the Checkmates, you know, Ronnie Hawkins, all these great, you know, Sean Jackson, all of them. So I looked at them, fine-tuned my craft more. So I already know how to sing the blues, but then I start to advance it more by seeing this influence. So we incorporate the soul more with the Caribbean beat, the flavor, the Cougars. So the influence coming here with the blues and all of that and playing the nightclubs and traveling across Canada or mostly Quebec, we started to experiment with the beat, with the Cougars.
Let me jump in there and I'm going to take a little bit of a step back just a touch because you did mention about leaving Jamaica, coming to Canada with your family. What was that transition like? Because as you just said, you know you're picking fruit off the trees. You know, beautiful warm weather, beautiful sandy beaches, and now you come to Toronto where there's snow. It's
Right,
cold. What
right.
was that part of the experience like? Because that all comes together in who you become, not just as a musician, but as a person also.
Well, my first time here at Pearson Airport, you should see that little airport. It's like a little house in a big farmland. But the first questions the immigration officers ask me, sorry, you know, it's a different ball game, different. And it was in the fall. And then you look outside, no leaves on the trees. So I asked my mom, why are the trees are dying? She says, no, son, this is fall now. Winter's coming. It's cold, nippy. And just everything is different. Very different environment. Excuse me. Very different. Until I became a student at Central Technical School. That made me adjust easily. Huge school, the largest technical school in the Commonwealth. 4,000 day student. I got lost going from one class to the other. They assigned a young man to take me around for almost a week, Rudy.
I believe it because you could definitely get lost in that school. And you know, it's funny because for all the years that I've known you, I've always just thought of you as a reggae artist. I
Thank
did
you.
not realize, as you just mentioned about jazz, soul, R&B, funk.
Mm-hmm.
These are all elements of who you are in growing up. What
Mm-hmm.
was it like for you now on Canada? Because now you're getting music from Buffalo, you're getting music from Detroit, and of course, you're getting a lot of other music, not just coming from the US, but in England also with our radio stations. What was that like for you in absorbing all of that?
Joy, peace. But those early days, man, we couldn't get that music on the radio station here. You would call in and ask them to play. They tell you they don't play that kind of music. So we had to tune into WAFO, WFO in Buffalo, BLK. Late night, we would pick up St. Louis, you know, Detroit, you know, and it was joy, wonderful.
I want
But
to
then,
and I want to interrupt because I want for younger folks who are watching this to understand this. You would have to have a little transistor radio at night, 1 or 2 in the morning, with
yeah,
tinfoil on this, with
yeah,
the aerial up, to catch these stations because
That's
the
right.
waves would open up for you to be able to get them.
You got that. And we would be so upset when the reception is no good. No good. You know, so we tune in and get all these stations at night, and then you had a guy, you know, you had the Wolfman and the Hound Dog and BLK. And the next happy thing for us was when you could get to go see a stage show. Ike and Tina Turner, Wilson Pickett, Buddy Miles. Oh yeah, they're coming to town. They're coming to town. We're looking for that. Can't wait. Commodores,
Oh,
Supremes. And most of these artists, they were more famous here than in the States. Because we had the Club Blue Note here up the road, up Young Street.
classic.
We had, we had the Brown Derby, we had the Le Coq d'Or, that was the headquarters of soul. And and in those days, especially at the Le Coq d'Or, man, they're not booking local bands. You kidding? So the Cougars went there Saturday afternoon jam. We wait until the band from the States, Little Charles and the Sidewinders, they take a break. They took a break and my band leader went up and said, hey man, can we go jam? Said, you're ready to come back on? He said, what? You mean jam? You take this for a joke? I said, we'd like to, man. He says, okay, but but your guitar player, he can't play my guitar because he's got a, you know, those days you wear the big belt with the buttons. So you gonna scratch. You see, what you doing? You want to jam? You don't walk with your axe. Where's your axe? Meaning his guitar. You want to jam? You don't have your guitar. He had to take off his belt and he let him play the guitar. So we went up there, the Cougars, man. And I opened up with bop, ba da, bop, bop, cold sweat. And Rudy, before we finished our third song, the owner, Bill Bulletin of the Le Coq d'Or, says, okay, I want you guys. I want, and not only that, oh man, let me tell you this. I took it up on myself and introduced a group that was sitting in the audience, Rudy, and says, get them to come up to sing a song. And you know who they were? They were a group called The Flames with Glenn Ricketts as the lead singer and the boy Love in There, you know, Love in There. And the owner of the Cougar said, we'll book you guys, but we need that group too. Throw that group in. And the money wasn't enough, so we had to split all that money. But that's how we open up the door at Le Coq d'Or for local acts to play the Le Coq d'Or because of the Cougars and the Flames.
How did you form the Cougars? Were they high school friends? Did you audition? How did you bring these guys together?
No, I didn't form the group. They were from Jamaica, and the leader, Dizzy Barker, they knew me from talent show back home at the Palladium Theaters. But they came here, they formed a band with Everton Pablo Paul, the drummer, and Carl Mullins, Tanya Mullins' father, was the manager. So while I was playing soccer at Central Tech in the play field, one day I was playing there and somebody said, hey, come down to the Whiff Club on Sunday, 12 o'clock. The Whiff Club was the West Indian Federation Club for where the black people could go and hang out. It was at Brunswick and College. So I went there at 12 o'clock at Sunday, not knowing it was for an audition. And that's how I became the lead singer of the Cougars. Thank God for that opportunity.
How long were you the lead singer? Because of course we're talking to you as a solo artist, and at some point you did become a solo artist. Did you stay with that band for a certain amount of time? Did you go to another band, or were those always in the back of your head? This is great for me to do, but at some point I want to be on my own.
Yeah, I stayed with that band, gave it my oh, by the way, Jackie Richardson was a member of the Cougars.
Oh,
Yes, yes. And we did a song Sooner or Later, and the backup singers were Brenda Russell, who's out in California,
yes.
Jackie Richardson's sister Betty, and Sharon Lee Williams. Oh man, and We did that song, and guess who was the arranger for that song, the backup singing? Doug Riley, the great Doug Riley. Yeah, I was a member with the Cougars until the last, till the end, till up into the 70s. And like I said, it was best thing happened. We backed up some of the best artists. Arthur Connolly from the States, worked and opened for Joe Tex in Montreal. That's how we backed up the Sweet Inspiration. The lead singer of that group is Sister Houston, Whitney's mom in Montreal. That's a whole nother story, bro. Yeah.
Well, let's talk about, you said now we're into the 70s now. The 70s is a completely different musical platform because you've got the hard soul songs that are going on. You've got the R&B songs that are giving out messages. But then you also have disco and pop going on at the same time too. How were you figuring yourself out to be in this field, to figure out where your place would be in the music landscape?
Well, you speak about the 70s. We can't forget Sly and the Family Stone,
Of
man.
course not.
And The Godfather, Soul, and all those great, God bless them. But for us, it's a good question because in those days, for you to work, you see, those days in Toronto, this is who run the show with live music, the booking agents. Oh my God, they had all the rooms tied up. And we had a union, the local 149, they make or break it. There was a time the musician union could blackmail a room if they used non-union musicians in that room. So much power they had. You had to beg them to allow you to join that union, 149. They had a president by the name of Bridgewater, you know? Oh my God. And the agents, they were like, God, Rudy, if you blew a room, you blow a contract for an agent, he don't touch you for the rest of the year. So in order to survive, we had to be very versatile, play the different music to keep working. In those days, we worked Monday to Saturday. So when there wasn't anything happening, we decided we're going to leave and tour through the North Country, Northern Ontario over into Quebec. For those countries spreading reggae music, man. You go to Quebec, they couldn't say reggae music, they call it Ram Jam music. Because Jackie Me Too had a song called Ram Jam, right? And then they heard about us up in Quebec. This band, they call us from the great club in Montreal, Esquire Show Bar. We heard about you guys up there. We want you to come to Montreal. We're going to let you open for Fats Domino. What? Drive all night to go open for Fats Domino in Montreal. So we had to be versatile to survive in the circuit. And it's one of the best things happened to me.
When you talk about the circuit, a lot of people, when they see documentaries of other artists back in the States, having to deal with racism, not being allowed in certain hotels, not being allowed to play certain clubs. Did you have any of those situations happening in Canada?
No, thank God. In Quebec, man, when you go to Quebec, especially out in the countryside, from the moment they see you as a black man, they think you're in sports or music. If you weren't, they would be disappointed. Hey, monsieur, where you from? Toronto. Oh, no, give him a drink. He needs it. Give him a double shot. He's from Toronto. Oh, he needs it. He's coming from hell country. Because, you know, Ontario is always conservative. Very. So in Quebec, and not only that, it's a good question. It's the only province in Canada in those days and probably now that made their singers into stars. They didn't have to leave to go somewhere. Cylindy and all of them, they made them. Gina Reno, they made them into stars before they left Quebec. It wasn't so here in Ontario. Even now, God bless this great city. Here, and I'll say it to you, brother, If you ask Richard Isaacs, the sax player, what's the difference between Toronto and New York? He said, you want to hear, man? He said, here, if you mess up in Toronto, your phone don't ring. If you mess up in New York, they'll tell you why. Yeah, it's the truth.
I believe that. I absolutely believe that.
Yeah.
I want to get into as we move along with the decades, because as we're leaving the 70s and we're going into the 80s and this new techno sound that's coming out, something that's very universal. A lot of the music is now also being mixed with reggae. A lot of British artists and Canadian artists are using that reggae sound. You, as we just talked about, is dealing with soul and all these other great influences. When did that establishment of you becoming a reggae artist actually became bestowed upon you?
Well, put it this way. My first CD was produced by Eddie Bullen. God bless him. Great
Oh,
Eddie.
and I'm going to stop you again there. Please explain for folks who don't know who Eddie Bolin is, because they need to know, because he is a master.
Oh, God. Thank you. He's right here at our fingertips, and he's taken for granted. But nothing happens before the time because I'm working with him. A genius. And that's Quincy Bullen's father. That man looked at me and said, many years ago, said, Jay, you need a CD. I listened to him. And when he did my first CD, You're My Lady, it was like, it's not was, I'm anointed. He taught me, he produced me, he voiced me, and the beats, and we would talk. And then the connection with the rhythms. Because here's the thing about reggae. Here's another thing. This is the last frontier where reggae hasn't been open and busted out yet. It's going to happen if we don't get too busy. Because why? It's the only music that transcends all the boundaries. You hear me, my brother?
I know, I hear you. And
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, and one of the things that I was glad to see over the years is how Canada was so open for reggae music. I mean, the late Denise Jones of Jones and Jones,
God bless her soul.
God bless her. You know, she brought so many reggae artists to Canada to perform. But here you are in Canada performing as being the ambassador who lives here, who's helping to open up that door. Can you talk a little bit about that part with what she was doing in bringing these artists, and you, of course, being here and living here, helping to open up those doors too? Because let's face it, if it wasn't for what she did and for what you did, who knows if we would have had that influx come to Canada.
Thank you. And we cannot forget Alan, her husband, Jones and Jones, other half,
Absolutely.
and the two young men, Jesse and Jeremy. They, it's in their DNA, man. The parents, they work very hard. She allowed me to open up for Toots and the Maytals at El Macombo. She was always bringing in artists, managing artists, and she, nothing stopped her. She had a vision. And I'm so happy that the young man Jesse now is already transcending this with his brother, because that's what we need here right now. A lot of riches are here with reggae, man, and talent. They're coming out of the institution. They're here, and we cannot forget beautiful people like you over the years. When we're on the major network 680, we can't forget the community colleges. Ken, so at CIUT, Luther Brown, Luther, Luther Brown, Kerry, Mullins. I don't want to get in trouble, but you know, Foggy Simeon, Sir B, um, Patrick Roots. We go on and on because you know, even now the mainstream. Thank God for CBC too.
Mm.
And it's starting to change because, you know, most of the mainstream station, thank God for G98 and Specs and all of them, but you know, it's still a journey to get the mainstream station to pay attention. But as I said, it is the music that transcends all the boundaries. And guess what? It connects with all the other music. And not only that, Rudy, a lot of the big name artists over the years, when they couldn't hit the top 10 charts, England or in the States, they go back and put a little reggae in it. What's love got to do? You know, Julian Lennon, Mick Jagger did a track with Peter Tosh. Whenever they want to hit the top 10, little bit of reggae. My brother Gary Kendall, he just did a song. It's called Don't Be Sad. He asked me to voice it. Check out that track. He's ahead of his time doing that song because he's got ska, reggae, everything in it. Carl Harvey did the guitar. Beautiful track. So the reggae and all the blues and funk. If you think I'm lying, go check out Eddie Murphy's reggae tracks. They're there.
They're
They're there.
They're absolutely.
In other words, what I'm saying is one vibration. We're connected spiritually. It's all energy, my brother, and thoughts. One love, one heart. Let's get together and feel all right. It's one energy that's working in the universe. And the music is part of it. Ain't no jive. It's the truth.
Part of that energy was you winning your first reggae award. Do you remember when that happened and what was that like for you receiving that honor?
Well, my first reggae award, I got nominated for the Juno twice, but I never won. I never won. I got nominated. The first one from Hallelujah. You know, God bless Sandra Whiten for turning me on to that song. That track was done by Fab Five Band in Jamaica. Thank God for Bernie Pitters, who is in an institution now. He was my producer at the time. Michael Arthurs did the strings arrangement. There's another brother in Toronto. So many great talents here. And now other awards, I got the Harry Jerome. Harry Jerome award. I thank God for that. Still have it looking at.
That's something you and I share. We're both Harry Jerome Award winners.
Thank you. Congrats, bro.
And congrats to you too. But I'm talking about the Reggae Awards. I think that happened back in, correct me if I'm wrong, I think it was 2007 is when you won.
Yes. Oh, man. What you know? You did your homework. Yeah, easy though, bro. You really, I got that from, I got quite a few reggae awards, I must say. But that particular one, yes. Thanks for reminding me. I got that from can't remember, but I got quite a few of them now. You know, thank you.
No, thank you for the music. When you are writing your songs, what message is important for you? Does it change from song to song, from album to album, or is the message all the same? Or does the message change because of the time period?
The message changed. Time period and vibration. You know what's happening. I just that song Must Change came out in the heart of COVID. Sly and Robbie sent the track, and most tutors weren't doing anything because of COVID. But one tutor, Danny Maestro, out in Ajax, I had to take late night in Country Road. He says, Jay, you can come to my, you don't have the virus. Let's put it out. And it featured Lord Sassafras, one of the foundation dancehall rap. And it was what's happening. And the lyrics, good morning, Miss Universe. Greetings to you. Everything must change. Nothing stays the same. So that was done based on what's happening around us. And, most of my songs are about truth. We got to live the truth. Live the truth. Truth is truth. And I am very conscious of my lyrics because words are very powerful, Rudy. Speaking for me, I have no intention of putting negative words out there because words are powerful. You put it out there and goes out into the universe and it manifests, and may God help me if it's not positive, it will come back at me. And so I'm very serious about my lyrics. In other words, I'm a messenger for peace and love. Ray to Chris Butcher, we wrote that song and it's out on YouTube, Messenger. So it's about truth and fun too, and love, happiness.
Mhm.
Well, hey, have a good time. In the early years when Bob Marley, Jacob Miller, all these cats, the early guys, Sybils and all of them recorded, what did they have in common? Their music was spiritual. That's the difference between today and now. Those days, there was a spiritual connection to their music. Just go back and check out Culture, Burning Spear, all these cats. And
I'm just
spirituality, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say I'm just curious though. Did you meet Bob Marley and Peter Tosh and all those other great artists? And if so, what was it like to have conversations with them or even having the chance to perform with them? Maybe something that we would never have had a chance to see that may have been done in private.
Good question. Yes, I met them. And this is something that's very, you know, it's a good question. I met them. We auditioned the same time for Studio One in the 60s. Yeah. Not many people know this.
Please tell the story. I cannot wait for this.
Mm-hmm. Audition on a Sunday afternoon. And that group, the Wailers, the lead singer was not Bob Marley, it was Junior Brathwaite. And now you look back and see everything. It was ordained for that man to be who he is, the great Bob Marley, because Bob, he's a poet. And he sings, but his voice is nowhere like Junior Brathwaite. If you want to hear Junior Brathwaite sing, go play the song, It Hurts to Be Alone. That's not Bob singing. That's the young man. And then he left and went to Chicago. And that's how Bob became the lead singer of the band. And yet, when they recorded that song, Simmer Down, Bob sang lead in that song. And that was their first big hit. So the journey, my friend, it's ordained. Life is a journey. We think we have control over everything. Hell no. That's what we think. And we have to be careful of the male ego. Simmer Down, 1960, was recorded in 1963. And they had the great lead singer, Junior Brathwaite. He did not sing lead in that song. It was Junior Brathwaite.
Wow.
Look at that.
Wow.
And he went to Chicago, went back home years after, thinking that Jamaica was the same way, your vibes and he got killed. Yeah.
Incredible
Amazing.
story.
Amazing. Yeah.
When you look at all your songs, so many great textures of the essence of life. Which one would you say represents your life the most? If you had to pick one, which one would it be and why?
In life, which one? Man to Man.
Why is that?
So deep, man. Hey, man, easy with me now, bro.
Hey,
You're
I may
hitting
never
hard.
have another chance to do this, so I'm
You're
making
hitting
sure.
you're hitting harder than Mike Tyson, bro. Good question. Good question. When I recorded that song, I wrote it. Man to man is so unjust, you don't know who to trust. That's what I'm showing you, man. Words are powerful. We have to be careful of the spoken words and the thought. When we recorded, I recorded it and it was produced by Bernie Pitters. We recorded it up in Woodbridge. And after I recorded the song, I said, man to man, this song just you don't know who to trust. You didn't have to ask me for the things I gave you. I gave it to you so willingly, but yet you're giving me a fight. Should I put my trust in you? Now, a lot of people may think I was talking to a lady. No, it was in general, because I believe in working and sharing and learn to say thank you with a smile. And it was always never get a thank you in return with a smile. The way how the brothers and sisters, you know.
Mhm.
But I was raised to think that my mom taught me it doesn't matter how bad the situation is, some good will come out of it, my brother. You just have to tune in to the spirit of Jah. And after I recorded that song, I noticed there were certain elements around me that slowly drifted away from me without me asking them. And it was very healthy for me in my environment. So that song, Man to Man, is a very deep song. But I don't carry any grudge or any, you know, because that would make me ill. I'm not into that. I believe in health is first, health is wealth, and spirituality goes with that. And just have fun, my brother. So happy we're talking about music and, you know, talking to a brother who you're pulling out the juice out of me, brother.
I'm just glad I get a chance to do this with you, you know. But
Thank you, man. Thank you.
um, do you think you would have had the career that you have today if you did not leave Jamaica? Would it have been different if you had stayed there?
Uh, no, if I'd stay there, I, I'm blessed. Life is a journey, and it's growth. Once, can I? Let me share this. An
Mhm.
interviewer asked Bob Marley, says, "Where were you born, Mr. Marley?" And he says, "Oh, I'm on born in St. Anne's, and I grow until I reach Kingston, until I reach New York, until I, so growth." And I'm happy that I was able to just grow. Look at this beautiful country. Great,
Mhm.
growth. I've traveled all over Europe, working in cruise ships, spent a lot of time in Asia, walk on the Great Wall of China. So it, thank God I avoided stagnation and I'm still growing. Not growing, I'm youthing.
Because with you, whenever I talk to you, you're always mentioning something in my ear about, I got a new song. I'm working
Yes,
on something. I'm doing this and I'm doing that.
yeah.
What are you doing right now as we speak when it comes to music? Are you putting together something that we may be able to get in the future in 2021 or in 2022?
Well, right now, thank God I'm working with Eddie Bulling. Great producer.
Mm.
Hadn't been for COVID, this wouldn't have happened. I would be out there gigging, looking for gigs, busy. COVID, say, hey, you should have been doing this many years ago.
Mm.
Right, record. You have creativity with you. And not only that, Sly and Robbie just released a track 2 weeks ago. You remember Stone in Love with You?
Yes, it's classic.
They just released it. And they sent it to Eddie Bullen to voice me, send it back. It's out there now. And Eddie and I are working on some masterpiece right now. Oh, only, only, only slamming me to have a little taste of some of them with Bruce and and Eric, but some serious music, some real gems are coming out of Thunderdome Studio. Eddie Bullen, God bless him.
I cannot wait for this. But one thing that I have to ask you about is um how do you keep your voice after all this time so rich and still so perfect? When we have some of the legends who have over the years lost their voice, it's just time. You have not. In fact, it seems to get even better. What is the secret to that success?
Here again, you ask me heavyweight question. Boy, I'm telling you, you're on your game. Look at these are very good. All right. Let me, my brother, health is wealth.
Mm.
And another thing, it's not my music. I'm just a channel for peace and love. It's God's music. Now, when I speak of God, I ain't talking about some guy up in the sky looking. And that's God, the spirit, energy, force. So I treat it reverent. I'm not in no competition and behaving like it's me. No, no. When I leave, what did he leave for the young generation? Positive vibes. Rest well, eat well, build the immune system. Because I got to be careful I talk because I don't want to get in any trouble. Build the immune, rest well, thank God for this gift, respect it, think positive, love my brothers and my sister. I'm not perfect now, but I'm still working. It's a gift to be chosen to deliver the message of peace and love. I refuse to put junk food in my system. No way. But I won't say anything more than that because truth can be very, and I'm grateful for that. Get a lot of exercise, think positive, learn to respect my brothers and my sister because we owe each other love and respect at the end of the day. And those are the formula. But first, good health and spirituality. And thank God for this great country. Look at the great country this is, Rudy. Land space, only 35 million people. So why shouldn't I be able to go out and walk and get, oh, don't get me going, my brother.
So here's the thing. Since we've spoken about probably about 45 minutes, okay? Do you realize how much of an ambassador and an influence that you have been and continue to be for the next great stars of tomorrow?
Thanks for bringing it up. And if that's what it is, without me being misunderstood, thank God for that. Because here you go again. In my band, I get a lot of young players from the institution. God bless. York, Humber, Ireland. They can play, talented. And sometimes I wish I could do more than just give them a paycheck. But I do the best I can. I lead by example, you know? Because why? Remember, a generation lasts 35, 40 years. So the kids are the gem of the future. And it's important to me. What am I giving them to carry on this beautiful journey? So if that's what makes me an ambassador, and everywhere I travel all over the world, as soon as I go, I'm from Canada. Whoa, sometimes they give me standing ovation. They love Canada. Great country. Beautiful, no kidding. Even in Hong Kong, all over. Canada. I'm proud, proud. God bless being from the Caribbean, Jamaica, but this great country and my duty is to try and maintain this wonderful country. So if that makes me an ambassador, I thank the world for that. But I ain't finished yet, bro.
And we think, no, I know you're not, but here's the next question. If we can go back in time to Jamaica, to go back, as you as a young child, if I can bring you today to you as that young child back then, what advice would you give you as a child to everything that you know today?
Go say the question again, please.
If we could go back in time and we could meet young you, young child, 8, 9 years old, what advice would you give young you to everything that you know today?
Be humble. Be humble. Continue to be humble. And my grandparents who taught us so well at the dinner table, pay attention. Because I have a lot of relatives here. I have uncles who are police officers here and they retire, and we can't stop talking about what we got. And we wish we had we wish we had listened more and pay attention, but the little that we've paid attention to has given us a lot of wealth. Yeah, but be humble. Be humble, man. Be peaceful. goes a long way.
Is that the advice that you would give?
You there?
To not just the way music is changing, but the industry itself is changing as well?
I lost you for a minute there. Can you say it again, please?
Absolutely. What advice can you give the young artists of today? Because not just the music is changing, but the industry is changing as well. Just the way we consume music is completely different than we did 5, 10 years ago. What advice could you give them that you have learned over the years for the power of success and staying power as well?
Thank you. You have to respect yourself first and give respect. You don't beg for it in return. You earned it. And remember, it's not your music. You're being chosen to deliver the message, which is peace and love. You're chosen to deliver the message and be thankful to be chosen for this journey. And also, please, 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 just be humble. Be humble. Don't let ego get involved. Because you see what ego is doing with the world today, especially male ego. You see, Rudy. And, you know, another thing too, we must never forget who we are and where we stand in the struggle, where we're coming from. And I want to get this in here, Rudy. Mm-hmm. All the great reggae artists, Marley, name it, J. Douglas, even the soca guys, calypso guys, Rudy, had not been for the sound system guys, we wouldn't be where we're at. I have to give them a shout out. The sound system made us, made Marley, all of them. And today, it's a culture in Europe. The sound system with the dub. You go over there, if you don't give them vinyl, they won't even touch you.
True.
It all started in the islands, in Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. We cannot forget where we're coming from. I never forget to thank all who helped me till this day. The people, I remember Eric Murphy. You know Eric?
Yeah, of course.
When we were in the Cougars in Toronto, man, Eric is a big star. I love that man. Smooth. Sang with Roberta Flack. He was signed with Atlanta. When we were in the Cougars, he said to us one day, you guys, you got to get out of Toronto, man. What's wrong with you cats? You can't leave Toronto. So finally, when we got to Montreal, the Squire Show bar, who we walked into? Eric. Oh, you took my advice. So you guys decide to listen. And that was one of the best advice. So I have to talk about, because we cannot forget who we are in the struggle, where we're going. If you don't know where you're going when you get there, you won't know where you are. So I always love to give thanks to the people from those days till now who helped me to be where I am. Be humble, man. Throw the ego. Throw the ego out. Get rid of it. When they were making the song, We Are the World, Quincy Jones and Michael, before all those great artists went into the studio that night, Quincy Jones stood at the door and says, ladies and gentlemen, do me a favor before you all come in to participate. Please leave all your ego outside.
You speak the truth. That is a true statement.
You remember that?
I remember that.
Well, there's an example. Many of us I can't speak for all, and I'm not judging up for none. Don't use your own agenda to mess with God's music, man. Whether it be rock, whatever, don't do that. It's more better. We are messengers of peace and love. But hey, I love my brothers and sisters, and but hey, man, treat the music reverent. It has done a lot for us.
Well, we have some folks who have some questions, or at least have some things they want to say. This one's from Bill, and he says, say something about I Wish It Would Rain. Brilliant cover. What was it? For 30 years before Jamaica to Toronto came out. Can you talk about that? I Wish It Would Rain?
Sunshine, blue skies, please go away. My girl has found another and gone away. With her went my future, My life is full of gloom. Day after day, I stay locked up in my room. I know to you, it might sound strange, but I wish it would rain. And oh, I wish that it would rain. That was with Jackie Richardson
Wow.
in the Cougars. And Light the Attic came here and they found all those jewels, those diamonds that we took for granted here. They wouldn't listen to us here in Canada. And they just picked up everything and ran with it. Thank God for Light the Attic and Jackie Richardson and the Cougars, Pablo Paul, oh, Terry Lewis, oh man, Gary Gabriel. That was, and the New York, what that paper in New York, not the time, the one that murder owns, Rudy, not the New York Post, the other one, the one that does business. They did a write-up on it. They said they didn't know people up in the North Country could make soul music like that.
But you can still do it. And here's the thing, because even though we know you as a reggae artist, have you thought about maybe even going back and doing covers like that or some of the soul songs from back in the day? Because like I said, your voice is still pure. It doesn't, it's like they say about black don't crack. It's the
Hey,
same thing with your voice. It does not crack. And you
Eddie
just did
Bullen,
that off the top of your head.
Eddie Bullen got some soul stuff coming out. Eddie Bullen has got some soul music coming out, man. I love soul because we start singing this from the early years, so it didn't go anywhere. But you know, reggae is an awakening and it's true. But they all connect to each other, man. Thank you for the compliment.
Well, just got to throw this out here. Hey, Jay, it's Erin McCullum. Do you know her?
Oh
Uh,
yes.
she says, thanks for a wonderful chat for the Maple Blues article. And she says, one love, my friend. So if you want to give a
Oh,
shout out.
same to her and God bless her. She did an interview for the TBS too, and she's a musician. She sent me some of her tracks. Talented young lady, man. Well, here you go. First time I met her and she interviewed me last Saturday, and it's like we're coming from past lives. Very interesting lady too. I'm looking forward to in the future connect with her and carry the message of the music. God bless you, Aaron.
You know, as we're slowly starting to wrap this up, what message do you have for, you know, we talked about music and we talked about business and all these things, but as we can still see that we're still going through this pandemic, people think it may be over by the summer. It could be going on till 2022. Some people have lost family, as we've spoken about with you. Some folks have lost their jobs. Some people have lost hope. What message of hope can you give folks out there that are feeling the darkness and hopefully will be able to wake up to the light?
I thank you for asking. I do hope I will not offend anyone because when you speak and live truth, oh man, it's such a shame. You don't even want to go into that part of it. But here's my formula. Every day I'm up, I give thanks and praise. I take it one day at a time. Eat healthy. You got to build that immune. You have to build that immune. They won't tell you. I have to be very careful. Build that immune with healthy diet. What's healthy diet? Physical, the food, spirituality. I didn't say organized religion now. Spirituality. You must meditate. You must connect with Mother Nature. We must go back into the universe. Grow what you eat what you grow. Be grateful, but take it one day at a time. Connect, connect. And, I don't want to interrupt this question, but let me give you an example. Derek Andrews. One day, many years ago, when I really needed a phone call, phone rang, Rudy. And I speak to Jay Douglas. I say, yeah, who's this? This is Derek Andrews. You've never met him before, but through David Bernard, I got your contact. Have you ever heard of Rasta Gordon? I say, yeah. We grew up with him in Jamaica. Sings the blues. So yeah, well, look here. I want you to put a band together to back up Rasta God, and he's coming to Harborfront. And I go, really? Rudy, this is a man we worship as kids through the sound system. He says, take his number, call him. I call the number. Here, this is Rasta Gordon. Who's this? I said, J. Douglas from Troy. Oh, you the guy with the band? Yeah, I'm coming up to Canada. I want you to put a 10-piece band together in a horn section, no trumpet, all saxophone. You hear me? Put it together and I'll be up there. Now, that point in time, I needed that. Times were tough and hard. But why I'm using this, you think positive, see the light at the end of the tunnel, something good is going to happen. It comes at a price. No matter how bad the situation, some good will come out of it. COVID is teaching us a lesson. But we got to learn to look within ourselves for the answers.
As
We
always,
got to, yes.
no, I was
You
gonna
know,
say no. I interrupted you. Please continue.
no, you go ahead, because I don't.
No, I was just gonna say, my friend, as always, you speak the truth. I want to say this has been an honor and a pleasure to have a chance to sit down and speak with you. And I want to add in to folks, when I told about the story about Saskatoon, we had a chance to sit together for about 6 hours because we had to wait between plane rides. And I want to mention something too, that I had a terrible problem that happened with some of the authorities down there uh, trying to get on the plane. It's something that would never have happened today, but it did happen then. And Jay was there to make sure that I was taken care of and that nobody was going to do the things that they were trying to do. And Jay, I want to say publicly, thank you so much for having my back that day. I mean, the fact that we had to get off from one plane ride to get to another one because we were in an area that was so cold. And then there were a few people in authority that were very rude
Mhm.
and, you know, trying to make assumptions about things. You help keep things together. This is your spirituality. This is your heart. This is the person that you are. And I am always grateful for you being there with me, because who knows what would have happened if you weren't there having my back, my friend. And I always thank you for that.
Thank you, my brother, and it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I cherish this moment, and I will always cherish it and share with the children, and to each and every one out there. I just want to make sure I say this. It's not that I'm so right and everybody else is wrong. That's not me, you know, because every day I have to learn till the day I die. But I try to avoid stagnation, growth, growth. So I love each and every one, my fans, my people, this great country, all the wonderful people that's giving me all this positive. Thank God for all of this. And stay healthy, man. Stay healthy. Be safe, everyone. God bless. Thank you.
Thank you so much again, everyone, for tuning
And
in.
thank you, Huma. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you. Thank you so much for the music. And, you know, for everyone, I hope you enjoyed the interview. As far as from the comments, I can see that everybody was really learning something from this, which is really great. One last thing, maybe would you like, both of you, if you would like to give your maybe like website or how people to follow you, what you're up to before we go?
Jay, you first.
Yeah, and in case they are wondering which song I released, but that's just released by Sly and Robbie. It's "Stone in Love with You." It's it's out there, and my contacts are Slamming Media, Bruce Bradley at Slamming Media, and Eric Alper, my publicist.
And from, oh, I should say hi, Bruce. Let me make sure I throw that out there for him. For me, it would be Rudy Blair Entertainment Media, rudyblairmedia.com. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I've got a TikTok, but I just view. I don't dance or put anything up there. But one of these days, I will. And to the Toronto Blues Society, thank you so much for having me part of this to speak with a living legend. This has been such a highlight for my career. So I say thank you to both of you for allowing me to be part of this journey.
Yeah, thank you so much. And thank you again for Bruce and Eric as well for facilitating this interview. And just before we go, I just want to quickly mention a couple of upcoming TBS events. We just actually started a new free workshop online workshop series. It's a digital streaming bootcamp led by Guillermo Subauste, who is an audio engineer and as well as a musician. And if you missed the first session, which was on Tuesday, it was on Audio 101, and that recording is available on TBS YouTube channel as well as the web page. So, and the next one will be on Video 101, which is next Tuesday. And we're about to publish our May issue for the TBS monthly magazine, Maple Blues. And as Jay mentioned, and thank you so much, Erin, for joining us today as well. You will see that Jay is on the cover, and there's a very nice interview about him. And you can find all this information on our website, as well as our social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, as well as Instagram. And thank you so much again. And, we shall see you on the next one. Hopefully.
Thank you. And
Thank you, everybody.
I love Canada.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.